Have you ever felt that sting when the children you raised, loved, and sacrificed for start treating you with less respect than you deserve? Maybe they brush off your advice, talk over you, or make you feel like you're just a footnote in their busy lives. It hurts, doesn't it? You might want to yell, remind them of everything you've done, or beg for the respect you've earned. But what if I told you there's a better way, a way to flip the script without a single argument? Today, I'm sharing 6 powerful, unexpected moves that can transform how your kids see you. These aren't about fighting or forcing. It's about reclaiming your dignity, stepping into your strength, and watching their respect come back naturally. Stick with me to the end, because by the time we're done, you'll have the tools to shift from feeling overlooked to standing tall as the respected figure you truly are. Let's dive in. Stop chasing their approval, a path to regaining respect from your children. As parents age, a painful shift can occur. The children you raised with love and sacrifice begin to disrespect you. They might ignore your advice, dismiss your opinions, or even treat you like a burden. The instinct may be to get angry or remind them of all you've done, but that rarely works. Instead, one of the most powerful ways to reclaim their respect is to stop chasing their approval, a subtle yet transformative change in how you approach your relationship with them. When you constantly seek your children's approval, you might find yourself bending over backwards to please them. Perhaps you say yes when you mean no, rearrange your life to fit their needs, or suppress your own feelings to avoid conflict. You hope that by doing enough, they'll value you more. But here's the hard truth. The more you chase their validation, the less they respect you. Why? Because respect isn't earned through self-sacrifice. It's rooted in self-respect. When you prioritize their needs over your own, you unintentionally teach them that your worth comes second. Over time, they may take you for granted, assuming you'll always give in. Consider Margaret, a once independent woman who, as she aged, began letting her children dictate her life. She silenced her opinions and adjusted her schedule to suit them, thinking it would keep the family close. Instead, her children stopped valuing her. They saw her as someone who'd always yield. She thought she was preserving peace, but she was losing her voice. The lesson? Chasing approval erodes your dignity, and without dignity, respect fades. So how do you stop? Start by respecting yourself first. Set clear boundaries. Say no when something doesn't sit right with you, and don't be afraid to express your thoughts, even if they disagree. This isn't about confrontation. It's about showing that your feelings and time matter. For example, if your children dismiss your input, calmly assert your perspective without begging for their agreement. The shift might feel uncomfortable at first. They may not like it, but it plants a seed. When you act like you don't need their approval, they begin to see you as a person with strength, not someone desperate for their validation. The beauty of this approach is its simplicity. You don't need to argue or demand respect. Those tactics often backfire. Instead, by carrying yourself with confidence and refusing to let your worth hinge on their reactions, you model what respect looks like. Over time, they'll notice. They'll sense that you're not a pushover, and that shift in perception can reignite their regard for you. Stopping the chase for approval isn't about distancing yourself emotionally. It's about reclaiming your place as a respected figure. When you value yourself, you teach your children to do the same. It's a quiet power move that says, I don't need you to define me. And paradoxically, the less you seek their approval, the more likely they are to give you the respect you deserve. Try it. Start small, stand firm, and watch how they respond. Don't argue. Lead by example, a powerful way to earn respect from your children. As your children grow into adults, you might notice a shift. They start dismissing your opinions, talking over you, or treating you with less respect than you deserve. Your first instinct might be to argue, to defend your worth, remind them of your sacrifices, or demand they listen. But here's a truth that can save you years of frustration. Arguing doesn't win respect. It often escalates tension and reinforces their belief that they hold power over you. Instead, a far more effective approach is to stop fighting and lead by example, showing them what respect looks like through your actions. When disrespect stings, it's natural to want to push back. You might raise your voice or try to prove your point, hoping they'll finally see your value. But think about it. When was the last time an argument convinced someone to respect you? Respect isn't won with words. It's earned through presence and poise. If you meet their disregard with anger, you're playing into their hands, confirming they can rattle you. The real power lies in refusing to stoop to that level and instead responding with dignity. Take Frank, a retired teacher who once commanded classrooms with confidence. At home, though, his grown children treated him like an afterthought, ignoring his advice, brushing off his concerns, even laughing at his attempts to guide them. Initially, he argued back, desperate to reclaim his authority. But the more he fought, the worse it got. Then Frank changed his tactic. He stopped debating and started listening. He spoke calmly, with wisdom, and carried himself as someone who didn't need to prove anything. Over time, his children noticed. They saw a man unshaken by their dismissals, and slowly, their respect returned, not because he demanded it, but because he embodied it. How do you lead by example? When they interrupt or belittle you, don't snap. Pause, stay composed, and respond with quiet strength. If they ignore your input, share it anyway, but without forcing agreement. Show them you value yourself by keeping your cool and holding your ground gracefully. This isn't about being passive. It's about being a steady presence they can't ignore. Your dignity becomes a mirror. They'll see how you treat yourself and, in time, reflect that back. This approach works because it shifts the dynamic. Instead of begging for respect, you demonstrate it. You don't need to win a shouting match to prove your worth. Your calm confidence does that for you. It's a subtle lesson. People respect those who respect themselves. And when your children test you, they're not just challenging your words, they're watching how you respond. Meet that test with grace, and they'll feel the weight of your strength. Leading by example takes patience, but it's transformative. You're not just avoiding arguments. You're showing your children what a respected figure looks like. Stay consistent, keep your head high, and let your actions speak. Soon, they'll realize respect isn't something you fight for. It's something you inspire. Withdraw your emotional dependence. Reclaim respect by standing on your own. As parents grow older, it's easy to lean on children for emotional fulfillment. You've poured decades into raising them, and naturally, you want their love and respect in return. But when they start dismissing you or treating you with impatience, it can hurt deeply. You might call more, seek their attention, or rely on them to feel valued, only to find them pulling away. Here's the key. Depending on your children for emotional validation often backfires. To regain their respect, withdraw that dependence and build a life that stands strong on its own. When you hinge your happiness on your children, they sense it. It's not that they don't care, they're just human. That neediness shifts the power in the relationship, turning your love into a burden. Instead of feeling grateful, they might feel pressured, even irritated. The more you chase their affection, the less freely they give it, and respect erodes. People, even your own kids, admire those who don't need them to feel complete. Emotional independence isn't cold, it's a quiet strength that draws respect naturally. Consider Helen, a devoted mother who, as her children built their own lives, found herself waiting by the phone. When they didn't call, she'd reach out, voicing how much she missed them, hoping to pull them closer. But it had the opposite effect. They saw her calls as obligations, not joys. Then Helen shifted. She stopped waiting and started living. She picked up hobbies, spent time with friends, and focused on her own happiness. Surprisingly, her children began reaching out more. They respected her not because she needed them, but because she didn't. Her full, independent life made her someone they admired, not pitted. How do you withdraw emotional dependence? Start by letting go of the expectation that your children must fill your emotional cup. If they don't call, don't chase. Fill that space with something meaningful to you. Rediscover passions, connect with others, or simply enjoy your own company. Show them you're not sitting around waiting for their attention. You're thriving with or without it. This doesn't mean cutting them off. It means releasing the pressure that your worth depends on their response. The shift can feel daunting. After all, loving your children is instinctive. But when you stop relying on them to define your value, something powerful happens. They no longer feel smothered by obligation. Instead, they see you as a person with a vibrant life, not just a parent needing validation. That independence commands respect because it shows resilience and self-sufficiency. Withdrawing emotional dependence isn't about detachment. It's about rebalancing the relationship. You're still there for them, but you're not clinging. Over time, they'll notice the change. They'll reach out not out of guilt, but out of curiosity and admiration for the life you've built. The less you need them to prop you up, the more they'll value your presence. Take that step. Focus on yourself, stand tall, and watch how their respect grows when they see you don't need it to shine. Set boundaries and enforce them, a key to earning respect from your children. As your children grow into adults, you might notice them crossing lines, speaking disrespectfully, dismissing your feelings, or acting as if your time doesn't matter. It's tempting to let it slide, hoping to avoid conflict or keep the peace. But here's the reality. If you don't set boundaries, they'll keep pushing, not because they're cruel, but because people treat you the way you allow them to. To regain their respect, you must define what you'll accept and firmly enforce those limits. It's not about fighting. It's about showing you value yourself. When boundaries are absent, disrespect festers. You might tolerate interruptions, brush off harsh words, or accept being taken for granted, thinking it's not worth the hassle. But every time you stay silent, you signal that their behavior is okay. Respect doesn't flourish in a vacuum. It grows when you demand it through action. Setting boundaries isn't harsh. It's a clear, calm statement of your worth. And enforcing them, that's where the real change happens. It shows your children you're not a doormat, but a person with standards. Take Robert, a retired businessman who once ran his company with authority. At home, though, his adult children interrupted him, ignored his concerns, and criticized his choices. At first, he let it go, avoiding confrontation. But he soon realized his silence taught them his feelings didn't matter. So he changed. When his son cut him off mid-sentence, Robert said, "I'll continue when you're ready to listen." When his daughter dismissed him, he replied, "You don't have to agree, but I expect respect." And when they pushed too far, he stepped back, making it clear he wouldn't stay where he wasn't valued. They resisted at first, but over time, they adjusted. Why? Because Robert showed he respected himself enough to demand it from them. How do you set and enforce boundaries? Start by deciding what's unacceptable. Maybe it's being spoken to rudely or having your opinions ignored. Then, communicate it calmly but firmly. "I won't continue this conversation if you raise your voice." If they cross the line, follow through, pause the interaction, walk away, or limit your availability. It's not punishment, it's consequence. Consistency is key. They need to see you won't bend. This isn't about creating distance. It's about teaching them how to treat you. The power of boundaries lies in their clarity. You're not begging for respect, you're requiring it. Your children might push back initially. Change unsettles habits. But when they see you won't waver, they'll adapt. They'll realize disrespect has a cost, and that shifts their perception. You become someone who commands regard, not someone they can overlook. Setting and enforcing boundaries takes courage, but it's liberating. It says, "I matter," and forces others to acknowledge it. If your children don't respect you, ask, "Are you allowing it?" Define your limits, stand by them, and watch how they respond. Over time, they'll learn that respecting you isn't optional. It's the only way forward. Take that stand, and respect will follow. Stop giving without appreciation. Restore respect by valuing your contributions. Parenting often means giving selflessly your time, energy, and resources to support your children. But as they grow, you might notice a shift. They take your efforts for granted, offering little thanks or even expecting more without a word of appreciation. You keep giving, hoping they'll recognize your sacrifices, but here's the catch. When you give endlessly to those who don't value it, you don't earn respect, you create entitlement. To regain their esteem, stop giving without appreciation and show them your generosity has limits, rooted in mutual respect. Overgiving is a trap many parents fall into. You might rearrange your schedule, offer help they don't request, or say yes when you're exhausted, all to keep them happy. But when they respond with indifference or demands instead of gratitude, it's a signal they no longer see your actions as meaningful. They see them as owed. The more you provide without acknowledgement, the less they cherish it. Respect slips away when your kindness becomes their baseline, and they start to believe it's your job to keep giving, no matter how they act. Take George, a father who embodied generosity. He'd drop everything to help his kids financially or practically, always putting their needs first. Yet, instead of appreciation, they complained or asked for more. When he needed support, they were nowhere to be found. Tired of being overlooked, George shifted gears. He stopped jumping in unasked, began saying no when necessary, and focused on his own priorities. His kids were thrown off at first. Why wasn't he at their beck and call? But as his giving became less automatic, they started to value it. By pulling back, he showed them his efforts were a privilege, not a right. How do you make this change? Start by evaluating what you give, time, favors, or emotional support, and whether it's met with appreciation. If it's not, cut back. Don't leap to solve their problems or sacrifice yourself unless they show they're grateful. When they ask for something, set the tone. I'll help if I can, but I need to know it's appreciated. If they still act entitled, withdraw your support calmly. This isn't about spite. It's about teaching them that your kindness isn't infinite. It's tied to respect. This adjustment rewrites the rules. When you stop giving without appreciation, you force a reckoning. Your children realize your efforts aren't guaranteed. They're a choice that depends on how they treat you. They might push back initially, accustomed to your unwavering yes. But stay steady. Your value doesn't lie in how much you give. It's in how you honor yourself. By halting unappreciated giving, you reclaim your standing. It's a quiet declaration. My support is earned, not expected. As they see your boundaries take shape, they'll begin to treasure what you offer, and you along with it. Take a step back, assess, and let your actions reflect your worth. Respect will follow when they understand your generosity isn't a free pass. It's a gift they must honor. Build a life outside of them. Earn respect by embracing your independence. As a parent, it's easy to make your children the center of your world. You've spent years prioritizing their needs, and even as they grow into adults, that habit lingers. But when they start disrespecting you, dismissing your input, or treating you as an afterthought, it might be because they see you as someone whose life revolves around them. To regain their respect, build a life outside of them. Show them you have your own purpose and joy, and they'll begin to value you not just as a parent, but as a person with a vibrant, independent existence. When your identity is tied solely to your children, they can start to feel burdened. If you're always waiting for their calls, seeking their validation, or relying on them for meaning, they might pull away, seeing you as someone with nothing else going on. Respect thrives when people see you as self-sufficient, not dependent. A life focused entirely on them can unintentionally signal neediness, and that dims their admiration. By stepping out of their orbit, you shift the dynamic. They'll respect you more when they realize your happiness doesn't hinge on their attention. Take Eleanor, a widow in her late 70s. After her husband passed, she poured everything into her children, calling constantly, offering unsolicited advice, expecting them to fill her void. But instead of drawing them closer, it pushed them away. Their visits dwindled, and she felt more isolated. Then she pivoted. Eleanor joined a book club, traveled with friends, and volunteered locally. She stopped making her kids her sole focus, and something shifted. They grew curious about her new life, reached out more, and admired her independence. By building her own world, she earned their respect, not as a needy mother, but as a woman with purpose. How do you start? Find what lights you up outside of parenting, hobbies, friendships, or causes you care about. Dive into activities that don't involve your children, like learning a skill or joining a group. Show them you're not just waiting around, you're living fully. This isn't about abandoning them, it's about enriching yourself. When they see you thriving independently, they'll view you differently, not as someone clinging to their approval, but as someone they can look up to. The impact is profound. A life outside of them lifts the pressure off your relationship. They no longer feel obligated to entertain or validate you. They're free to connect out of genuine interest. Your independence becomes magnetic. They'll respect you for having your own path. It might take time. They're used to being your focus, but as they witness your growth, their perception will shift. Building this life redefines your role. It says, I'm more than just your parent, I'm me. When your children see you engaged and fulfilled, they'll value you anew. Step into your own story, pursue what matters to you, and watch how they respond. Respect grows when they realize you don't need them to complete you. You're already whole. Take that leap and let your life inspire theirs. Final thoughts. Inspire respect through your actions and life. Parenting doesn't come with a manual for when your children grow up and start treating you with less respect, ignoring your advice, dismissing your feelings, or seeing you as less significant. It's tempting to react with frustration, to demand they remember all you've done. But respect isn't reclaimed through anger or pleas. It's inspired by how you carry yourself, set limits, and live your life. These 6 strategies offer a roadmap to shift the dynamic, helping your children see you as a figure worthy of admiration, not just obligation. First, stop chasing their approval. When you stop bending over backwards to please them, you show self-respect, and that's the foundation of their regard. Don't argue. Lead by example instead. Your calm dignity in the face of disrespect speaks louder than any shouting match, proving your strength without a fight. Withdraw emotional dependence, too. By finding fulfillment within yourself, you relieve them of the burden to validate you, earning their respect through your independence. Set boundaries and enforce them. People only treat you as well as you insist, and firm limits signal your worth. Then, stop giving without appreciation. When your generosity isn't valued, pulling back teaches them it's a privilege, not a right, restoring its and your value. Finally, build a life outside of them. A rich, purposeful existence beyond parenting shows you're not waiting for their attention, you're thriving on your own terms. Together, these shifts don't just demand respect, they cultivate it naturally. You become someone they can't overlook, not because you force it, but because your presence commands it. This isn't about guilt-tripping your children or widening a gap. It's about redefining your role as they transition into adulthood. You've spent years putting them first, but now it's time to prioritize yourself, not selfishly, but confidently. Think of Frank, who went from arguing to leading with poise, or Helen, who found joy beyond her kids' calls. Their stories show that respect flows back when you stop needing it to define you. Your children may resist at first. Change disrupts habits, but consistency will win out. They'll adjust when they see your resolve. The beauty of this approach is its quiet power. You don't need to lecture or fight. Your actions do the talking. Live with purpose, hold your ground with grace, and let your life reflect your value. Over time, they'll notice. They'll see you not as a parent clinging to the past, but as someone who stands tall in the present, resilient, independent, and worthy of esteem. Respect will return, not because you insisted, but because you earned it through who you've become. So, if your children have drifted into disrespect, don't waste energy on resentment. Shift your approach. Embrace these changes and watch their perception transform. You'll reclaim your place in their eyes, not as someone waiting for their nod, but as a figure they genuinely admire. It's a journey worth taking, one step at a time, until respect flows back naturally, rooted in the life you've built and the strength you've shown.